Jason Lloyd. We have a podcast. We also have a YouTube show. And that gives us a tremendous platform to sway the voting on NBA awards.
Do you think I could win Defensive Player of the Year if I talked about it enough on the podcast?
We're going to find out, because you best be damned that I'm going to talk about next week my Sunday championship game performance if I lock down the former Cleveland State guard who's the leading scorer for the other team. But no, in all seriousness, Draymond Green a month ago was plus 3,000 on FanDuel to be Defensive Player of the Year. Plus 3,000. This was after Wemby got hurt, by the way. Wemby was going to run away with this award if he stayed healthy. When Wemby got hurt, the odds shifted dramatically. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Evan Mobley became the two betting favorites. And then as the season progressed with Wemby on the sideline, Mobley started to establish himself as the preemptive favorite to win DPOY. Then Jaren Jackson got hurt. And it looked like Evan Mobley had a clear path to winning his first ever Defensive Player of the Year award. And then Draymond went on his podcast and started a social media campaign as to why Draymond believed Draymond should win the DPOY. And it has started to catch like wildfire, Jason. And fast forward a month, after barely being on the books in the Defensive Player of the Year odds, Draymond Green isn't just the current favorite. He is the current heavy favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. According to the most recent FanDuel updated odds on Defensive Player of the Year, and it is loading right now, so you are literally getting the most up-to-date. It could not be more up-to-date. Draymond Green, that is finals MVP. I don't want finals MVP. I want just regular awards. Is minus 380 to win DPOY. Now, I will give you the floor first because I have pulled all the numbers, and I'm going to print this out and give this to BJ and the Cavaliers communication staff to give to all their players for the rest of the interviews they do this season to reference as to why Evan should be the DPOY. So I'll make my case for Evan after you go. But Jason, Evan Mobley should be the Defensive Player of the Year. I will prove to you why after you go first. What do you make of this whole public campaign for Draymond, which has now swayed the books dramatically?
It's exactly what I said on UCSS a few weeks ago. Nobody knows how to vote for this award. This is how you get crap like this. Draymond has a massive platform, and to his credit, like, I take nothing away from Draymond. Like, he's playing it right. This is why you have a podcast, so you can go out and do things like this, and you can say whatever you want, and you can frame your narrative however you want. It will be a travesty if Draymond steals DPOY from Evan Mobley. It will be a travesty. But this is an award that is very difficult for writers to vote on, because what is the criteria and what should they focus on? Chris Paul won it for a number of years because of steals. Meanwhile, while he's winning it, I've got players across the league telling me Chris Paul is an awful defender and he leaves his team in terrible positions because he's constantly chasing steals. Rudy Gobert won it because of blocks. And the Jazz had some very good defensive teams during those years, but voters just sort of latched onto blocks, and it very much becomes a narrative-driven award because there is no, like, it's pretty easy to vote on MVP. It's pretty easy. Like, you may disagree with the end result, like Shea over Jokic, take your pick on that, but you know what you're measuring. You know what you're putting on the scale in that instance. With DPOY, it's sort of all over the place. And why I don't vote on it anymore. When I used to vote on it, I used to take heavy consideration from the players. I used to get a wide assortment of opinions from as many teams as I could on who do you like, who do guys like, and why. And this is really a shame that this has turned into this. And part of it, Evan needs to talk more. And it sounds silly, but he's got to get better with media, because it's going to end up costing him money out of his pocket if he doesn't, both endorsements and opportunities and awards and everything else. And that's why it was funny. You know, last night I came in at the end, Darius and Evan are on the podium together, and Darius is trying to make the case for Evan and then puts his second microphone in front of Evan, like, Evan, go, like, make your case. It's time to, you know, it feels, I think, awkward for Evan to sit here and sort of praise himself. You could just see that it's not very natural for him to do. But if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. It's literally tens of millions of dollars on the table for him if he makes this or
Yes.
not. And yeah, I mean, listen, he's going to live well for himself regardless if he wins it or not. But this is a big deal. And the Cavs should get behind it and push this. I know award ballots are already going in. It may already be a little bit too late in some instances, but Evan absolutely should win it. I'll let you put the numbers up to why. My eyes just tell me from watching the Cavs and from watching other teams. I don't watch every single Warriors game, but I've watched enough. Draymond is fine. Draymond is not the best defensive player in the league anymore.
He is not. And in the 2 games they played against each other this season, Jason, which is not part of the equation, that should not value, but it does, I think, if you're trying to split a tiebreaker. The Cavs beat the Warriors the first meeting, 136 to 117. Scored 136 points in their first meeting. In the second meeting, they scored 113 and held Golden State to 95. So
By the way,
yes.
That first game, the score again on that, can you repeat that?
136 to 117.
That's the game. First of all, that's the game where I stamped them. Okay, this is real, the Cavs. And that's also the game where I talked to Draymond in the visiting locker room and said, are they using Evan the way that you are used here? And he said, yes, with one difference. Evan is 7 feet tall and was praising Evan for his ability and his size that Draymond doesn't have. So Draymond knows it too. But go ahead.
So I want to talk to you, not you, Jason. I want to talk to you specifically. I'll take my glasses off for a second before I have to read these stats. Evan Mobley is the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year this season. I will hear no other argument other than if you want to make a case for Lou Dort, because I have a special place in my heart for Lou Dort. But Draymond Green is not in the same stratosphere this season as Evan Mobley is in terms of importance to the team and their overall success defensively. Draymond is a good defender. He is a great defender. He is a Hall of Fame caliber defender. But this season and the Defensive Player of the Year for the 2024-2025 season is not a career achievement award. If it was, Draymond has a great resume and should be in the running to win it. But that is not what the award is, Jason. It's for what you do this season. And this season, there has been no question in my mind that the Cleveland Cavaliers are not only a better team than Golden State, but Evan Mobley has been a better defender than Draymond Green. And I pulled a bunch of numbers here that I think help illustrate the differences in their 2 DPOY campaigns. First off, I think your team record should play some factor into it. Winning matters, right? Defense wins championships. Well, the Cavs just clinched the 1 seed, Jason. They are 63-16 on the season. They're 2-0 against the Warriors. And for as good as Golden State has been of late, the Warriors are 47-32. And in this whole late season surge for Golden State, right? They're considered the hot team in the NBA, Jason. Am I putting that out of context? They're considered to be red hot while the Cavs have been struggling down the stretch. Is that fair?
Yeah, Jimmy Butler's totally flipped them.
Yeah, you want to hear something crazy? Since the All-Star break, the Cavs are 19-6 and the Warriors are 19-5. So is it really that different, or is it just perspective? Shout out to Justin Rowan of the Chase Down Pod for pulling that stat. The way we talk about these teams is drastically different. The record, 19-6 for Cleveland since the All-Star break, 19-5 since the All-Star break.
I think the difference there is the Cavs have been that team all year long. The Warriors were that team once they got Jimmy.
So once again, Jimmy Butler saving Draymond Green, because if the Warriors still suck, Draymond Green's not in this conversation. So overall games played this year, Mobley's played 70 games, Draymond's played 65. They both play about the same minutes per game, Jason. Mobley 30.4, Draymond 29.1. So we're looking in the same range. So none of these numbers are going to be drastically different. They're playing just about the same numbers. Rebounds, that's a big part of defensive efficiency. Closing out possessions, Mobley 6.3 rebounds per game, Draymond 6.1. Blocks, 1.6 for Evan Mobley, just 1 per game for Draymond Green. Steals, Draymond has a slight advantage. 1.4 for Draymond, 0.9 for Evan. So when you combine the two, it's a stat called stocks, steals plus blocks. Pretty basic. Evan, 2.5, Draymond, 2.4. So Evan, the slight advantage there. When you look at their overall team defensive ratings, the Cavs and the Warriors are 8th and 7th in the NBA, respectfully. The Warriors, 7th with a 111 defensive rating. The Cavs, 8th with a 111.9 defensive rating. When Evan Mobley is on the court for Cleveland, their defensive rating is 108.6. That would rank 2nd in the NBA. When Evan Mobley is not on the court, Jason, their defensive rating, it goes back to what they've been as a team, 111.9, which ranks 8th. So there's a 3.3 difference in defensive rating when Evan is on the court versus when Evan is off the court. The Cavs are 3.3 points per 100 possessions in net rating better with Evan on than they are with Evan off. When you look at Draymond in those same categories, with Draymond on the court, the Warriors, 108.9 defensive rating, just 0.3 worse than the Cleveland Cavaliers. When Draymond's not on the court, the Warriors' defensive rating is 110.4, 1.5 points better than Cleveland's defensive rating without Evan Mobley on the court. So Evan Mobley's difference, his on-off difference, 3.3 points. Draymond Green's defensive rating on and off, 1.5 points. So the Warriors' defense, more than twice as good than the Cavs' defense is in terms of net rating, or in terms of defensive rating, when Evan isn't on and when Draymond isn't on. When you look at their field goal percentage against, basically the same. Overall, Evan has a 44.5% field goal percentage against. Draymond has a 43 field goal percentage against. Within the paint, and there's a caveat to this next stat I'll give you in a sec. Evan has a 54.4 field goal percentage defense. Draymond a 53.6 field goal percentage defense. So slightly better for Draymond. But on the perimeter against three-pointers, opposing players are shooting just 33% against Evan, 35% against Draymond. You want to get super nerdy. Defensive win shares, 3.7 for Evan, just 3.2 for Draymond. We talked about the box score plus minus and the record since the All-Star break. That slightly favors Draymond, but the one stat you can't calculate, Jason, there's no stat in any tracking metric, in any NBA.com website, in any synergy, is how many shots a guy, by his sheer presence, are not taken. Because there is not a stat that is, I probably should have took that shot, but Evan Mobley was in the paint, so I know better than to get my shit swatted to the fifth row. That doesn't happen with Draymond Green. I called around and asked 2 NBA guys this morning, well, one last night, one this morning, and say, if you have any of your guys, pick any player on your team, and he's going up one-on-one against Draymond Green, is he going to try to dunk on him? Is he going to try to finish over him? Is he going to pull it out? They both said, well, one said he's going to try to dunk on him because he tries to dunk on everybody despite our best wishes. And the other guy said, oh, he's definitely finishing. He's not trying to pull it back out and work for a better shot. Then I asked the same question if it was Evan Mobley. And the one guy said he's going to try to dunk on him because he's going to try to dunk on every player despite his best wishes. And the other guy said, oh, he's turning around. He's going to pull it back out. There's no chance. And I don't have a number to track that. I don't have a specific number that indicates Evan's importance in terms of he's in the paint, so we are not going to put up a shot versus Draymond's. But I can assure you that the number of times guys drive into the paint, see Evan there, and pivot back out versus the time that they do that for Draymond is night and day. Evan is 6'11". He switches on guys 1 through 5. He's one of the better perimeter defenders in the NBA for players 6'10" or taller. The Cavs don't help. Darius said it yesterday. When Evan switches on guards, we stay at home. Why? Because we have that much confidence in Evan Mobley. I think he's better as a help side defender, Jason, than he is as the point of attack defender or even the primary rim protector. Evan has unlocked this Cavaliers defense to do basically anything they want. They can switch, they can hedge, they can fight over screens, they can ice. Why? Because you have a unicorn, a defensive unicorn in Evan Mobley on the back end to help clean up any other mess. And as good as Draymond Green may be defensively, and as good as he has been defensively this season, because I don't want this to come across as Draymond's not good defensively. He is. He is not as good and has not been as good or as impactful to the team defense as Evan Mobley has been this season. And I'm sure there are numbers for contested shots and overall deflections that you could find to help back that up. I didn't have the time to go through and find every single number, Jason. But even the traditional numbers I kind of looked at, plus the eye test, plus the overall team success, there should be no question. The Vegas books are wrong. Evan Mobley should be, and I hope will be, and would get my vote if I had a vote for the 2024-2025 Defensive Player of the Year.
You know, very well done. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. I'm going to put that. I'm going to post that on the YouTube page.
I was talking to somebody with the Cavs last night about all of this, and we agreed. I think Jarrett's presence hurts Evan's case in this, and it's unfortunate. But I think voters will look and say, yeah, but he's got Jarrett Allen next to him. And who does Draymond have? And I mean, you know, Jimmy's probably a much better defender. He's not as good as he once was, but he's still a pretty good defender, but he's not in that elite category that we're talking about here. So I do think that Jarrett's presence hurts Evan's case if you don't watch him play every night. And the number of people voting on this award, I mean, the Cavs have had a lot of national games, but I just think that you need to watch Evan to really appreciate everything that he can do. And you laid it out perfectly there with his ability to guard 1 through 5. And the on-off court splits, I think, are really important in this instance because, of course, Jared Allen is a great defender. Of course, he helps the Cavs team defense. Their biggest strength is to be able to pair those guys together on the defensive end, at least when they're out there together. But when you see the dip when Evan is not out there, that is telling to me, and that helps support his case. So I don't have a dog in the fight, but certainly I think Evan is deserving of it. I think he should win it. I hope he does win it because I just think it would be a real shame that Draymond basically, and I'm not blaming him. Again, I'm not blaming Draymond. This is why you do this. But I think he will have very much manipulated this entire thing with his podcast if this actually turns out this way. And it shouldn't. And shame on the NBA voters if they're swayed by it because I think probably because it was going to be Wemby before he got hurt. And so I don't know that they look at Evan as a viable candidate because he wasn't going to win had it not been for an injury. So I think that opens the field for everybody, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining that properly.
It does.
But it's not like Evan was the clear favorite all year long. He wasn't. It was going to be Wemby. And then when Wemby goes down, it sort of opens the field to everybody and allows Draymond to sort of pull this and to do this. But hopefully it doesn't go that way. Hopefully Evan wins it because I think he is absolutely deserving of it. And again, this is a big deal with where he's at on his contract, and because he's entering max next year and it's dependent on this, it is a significant difference in his next contract if he wins this or not.
What I'm going to say, Jason, is not a slight on Jared Allen whatsoever, who I also believe is a very, very, very good defensive player. But with Jared Allen on the court this season, the Cavs have a net rating of 111.5. So 111.5. Their team net rating overall this season is 111.9. 111.5 when Jarrett's on the court. When Jarrett's off the court, the defensive rating gets better by almost 2 full points. Their defensive rating with Jarrett off the court is a 109.2. So that goes to show you the impact. As good as Jared Allen is, they're actually better defensively when Evan is at the 5. And if you're going to take away votes from Evan because of what Jared Allen does, well, Jimmy Butler is still an awesome freaking defender, and that should be the same knock against Draymond Green in voters' minds. Evan should be your defensive player of the year. If anyone else besides Evan should be the winner, it should be Lou Dort. I mean, it still should be Evan, but if anyone else outside of Evan's going to win it, it should be Lou Dort. Why? Because the Thunder have historically good defense. He draws the toughest assignment every night. And look what he did to Donovan Mitchell in those 2 games.
I also don't think that it's a coincidence that we're talking about 2 small market teams fighting for oxygen on this while Draymond can talk his way to the title.
Well, Evan,
the way it goes.
There's my message to Evan, Darius, Donovan, whoever. And maybe Donovan, with he's hurt now, will be more open to this. We have one of the biggest YouTube platforms in Cleveland. Our Cavs coverage is more views than anything else in the city. I can guarantee you that. Come on. I will give you the cheat sheet. You can campaign for Evan Mobley for DPOY just like Draymond did. And I promise you we will get that message out to as many people as humanly possible. I'm going to extend that invite. I'm going to send this clip to BJ and the Cavs PR staff. You want anyone to come on to campaign for Evan as DPOY, we will give you an hour of the show. I'll look up every advanced analytic possible that makes Draymond look like a subpar defender compared to Evan and puts Evan in the highest light possible. So there's the offer. Don't say we didn't make it, guys. But Evan, the floor is yours and the invite is withstanding whenever you want to come on and campaign for yourself, or you can send in one of your buddies, one of your teammates to do it for you. We'll take whoever to campaign and to push the Evan for DPOY agenda.
All jokes aside, Evan does have to get better with talking in media. He has gotten better. He's gotten significantly better from where he was as a rookie, but he's not there yet. And you don't have to have your own podcast. You don't have to be Draymond in terms of media, or Donovan. Donovan's fantastic at it too. You don't have to be that good, but you have to help yourself. You have to help your cause. And I don't think that he's done a good enough job. His teammates have talked more for him than he has. He's got to get better at doing some of the media stuff. It's part of the game, and he's only cost himself in the long run.
This is a comment from J47 before we wrap. Invite Evan on the show next time you're at a presser. We got something in the works real quick with the Cavs thing next week. I've been trying to get the issue with them is their practice time and our show time don't coincide is the issue. They practice from 10 to 12:30 and then are in the locker. It's not ideal timing for us, but we will move hell and high water, Jason, to get one of these guys on if they want to come on and talk Evan. So we will do our best. I promise you, I'm going to send BJ an email as soon as we get off this, Jason, about the story I'm working on for next week, plus an open invite to anyone. We'll take Imani Bates, Naquan Tomlin, you name it. The new guy they signed, Okiki from Orlando. If Okiki wants to come on, he's known Evan for literally 3 days and tell us why he's a DPOY. We'll make it work.